My people, you don't finally read as they talk to you now.
Piers, what's happening in Nigeria is jihad. It's the exact same thing that happened on October 7 by Islamists when they broke into Israel and murdered Jews yelling Allahu Akbar. It's the exact same thing that ISIS terrorists did to the Yazidis in Iraq. It's the exact same thing that happened in Lebanon. Here's the only difference between what's happening today in Nigeria versus what happened 1400 years ago when the Muslim Arab invaders came to Persia is that back then people did not have cameras, but today they do. It is 100% jihad. We've seen it before. This is how the Islamist playbook always happens.
Well, I don't think that the foreign minister was denying that bad things have been happening. He's just denying that it constitutes a genocide and that the numbers
of course,
reported
because his
deaths
government
of
is a part of it.
Of murders of Christians.
I think his government is complicit. Right now, you have an right now you have an Islamist government in Nigeria. One of the things that he didn't mention to you is that typically it's been a constitutional convention in Nigeria that if the prime minister is Muslim, then if the president is Muslim, then the vice president is Christian. If the president is Christian, then the vice president is Muslim. This is intended to have a proper representation of Nigerian population. Right now, you have a Muslim president, and then they decided to choose a Muslim vice president, and so there is actually no Christian representation in the Islamist government. By the way, this is a government that is working closely behind the scenes with the Islamic Republic of Iran. You should ask the foreign minister why Nigerian school children are holding pictures of the Ayatollah, who is a brutal dictator and is murdering my people in Iran. People need to look into the linkages between the current Nigerian government and the Islamic Republic of Iran. I was a politician for 7 years, Piers, and I can tell when someone is lying and avoiding the truth. That's exactly what this foreign minister is doing, and shame on him for lying.
Nigeria's foreign affairs minister, Yusuf Maitama Tuggar, has given false information on Piers Morgan's show. And you remember, this is not Nigerians, this is not Channels Television, neither is it Arise News TV, where if they question these politicians properly, they will go and use NBC to get at them or ban them or give them fine for asking rightful questions. This is a US uncensored platform where Piers Morgan asks critical questions to people, bring prominent people, ask them deep questions that will reveal a lot of secret. But in this very episode we are watching right now, which I will let you watch the full video, Piers Morgan and this woman from Canada was telling the Nigerian Foreign Affairs Minister how things were going. Unfortunately, the Nigerian Foreign Minister, Tuggar, could not give accurate data of how many Christians has been killed in the country, but rather telling, different story, which I will say is a lie or something to these people. But these people discovered the truth and countered him. From the entry video which you watch, the intro, you could hear this woman telling him prompt and plain that he is a liar and it is a very shameful thing for him to do. This is how the government has been lying on different platforms, going about saying that there is no Christian genocide in the country. A lot of Nigerians have reacted in different platforms concerning these very videos that has been trending online after it was released. Because when it wasn't released, the Foreign Affairs Minister was just panicking up and down because Piers Morgan told him that he lied and that they also countered his lies. Let me allow you guys to watch this video. Nigerian government is not telling itself the truth, but rather trying to cover it up. And with all these things going on now, there is no other ways, for Trump to do what he said that he would do other than to take the rightful action, because the time is now. The government of Nigeria can no longer handle the situation because the level of terrorism going on in the country have exceeded the expectations of even people who thought that Nigeria had something to offer. Let us take a look at the full interview from Piers Morgan while countering the Nigerian Foreign Affairs Minister, Maitama Tuggar. Let's take that. Please don't forget to like, share, And also subscribe to this channel so you'll be getting our updates back to back. Thank you and God bless you.
Targeted and persecuted. It's also moderate Muslims, and that there's a general wider problem with Islamist terrorism.
Well, there is definitely a problem with Islamist terrorism, but just because Muslims are being murdered, it does not negate the fact that there is a targeted ethnic cleansing of Christian Nigerians. One does not negate the other. What we can conclude from this is that there is definitely an Islamist problem. Now, one thing that the Nigerian minister is purposely forgetting to put out there is that it's not just Boko Haram, it's also the Fulani militants. Not a lot of people know about the Fulani militants. The Fulani Islamists are also the ones who are generally targeting the Christian Nigerians, especially in the Plateau Belt. And I've had several Nigerian Christians come on and speak about this. In fact, I have seen videos where you have the Fulani militants, on their motorcycles with machetes. They're driving through various towns, and you have the Nigerian military who's supposed to prevent them from going. They're getting orders to stand down and allow the Fulani militants to go through. Again, Piers, the loss of life is horrible. But as you can tell from the minister, he's avoiding questions. He's avoiding eye contact. Instead of actually answering the questions, he's focusing more on trying to attack me and trying to, go after me because I'm not as familiar with the Constitution. I don't need to be familiar with the Constitution of Nigeria to understand that, over 50,000 Christians have been murdered since 2009. I don't have to be familiar with the Constitution of Nigeria to know that when someone yells Allahu Akbar before they massacre 200 Christians and burn Christian churches, that's not just banditry, that's jihad. And I think the reason that the foreign minister does not want to admit this is because they are somehow complicit in this. And, he is purposely saying that he is willfully ignorant, because how could the Nigerian government not know if those people who have been murdered are Christian or Muslim? The reason that he's avoiding saying that is because if they actually put out formal numbers about the numbers of Christians targeted and murdered, then they will have to admit that there is a genocide. They don't want to admit that there's a genocide, but that's exactly what's happening. And I'm glad President Trump and others are calling it out.
Foreign Minister, finally, your response to that.
Well, like I said, the lady and people like her trade in starting wars in faraway places where they have no contact, they have no understanding of, and they can do that from their armchairs from a safe distance. It's a real life situation. This lady would not know the difference between a Fulani man, a Tiv man, an Igbo man, if they stood in front of her. But you can see clearly overnight, because it pays, she's probably making money out of it.
Actually, I'm getting $0 for this. I'm getting paid zero. I'm getting paid zero for this. I have been speaking out against human rights violations. Listen, Piers, as you can tell, he's not able to actually answer anything that I'm saying. All he does is just attack me and attack my credibility. So I think this shows the viewers exactly where the Nigerian government
is going to keep on insisting that she has not heard the figures. So that's what she's trying to do. Start a war. They want to break up Nigeria the same way they broke up Sudan, and now they've run away. She's not talking about Sudan anymore. She's not talking about South Sudan.
I actually have talked about Sudan in other episodes as well.
For Sudan to be dismembered. This is what they do. This is what they do. What they try to do to Africa. Nigeria is the largest country on the African continent. It is the largest shock absorber to the African continent in terms of admitting migrants, in terms of freedom of religion. It's Africa's largest democracy. But people like you, who don't really care about freedoms, about the freedoms of either Christians or Muslims or Africans, will continue to agitate for the breakup of Nigeria, for war. The same way that it's happening in South Sudan, and you've kept mum because you've moved on.
The reason that I know that you are working with the Islamic Republic of Iran is because the Islamic Republic puts out the same narrative about balkanization. That balkanization narrative is something that the Islamists constantly use.
That Africans are losing their lives. To you, it's just another black country to be broken up. You don't care who dies.
Your hands
whether
are the
they're
one that's
Christian
covered
or
in
Muslim.
blood, not mine.
But we've seen you
Not mine.
many
I'm not
times,
denying the
and
Christian
guess
genocide,
what?
but you are.
It's not
Shame
going to
on you.
happen to Nigeria.
Shame on you.
Move on to your next project. Move on to your next, your disgrace. You're disgrace to the Canadian nation. I'm shocked that you say that you actually practice as a politician in Canada. Move on to the next episode. Leave us alone.
Well, I'm going to leave it there.
We don't want to be the next Sudan. We will not allow ourselves to be the next Sudan.
No,
Where
I understand
are the
that.
faith-based groups that were agitating for Sudan to be dismembered? They're no longer there to fix Sudan.
Okay.
Not North, not South.
Okay.
It's Nigeria as a member of the Peace Council of the African
Let me jump in if I may.
With the heavy lifting.
Foreign Minister, if I may, I'd like to jump in if I may, because you do seem to be avoiding my questions. You know, you don't seem to know how many Christians have been murdered, which I find surprising.
I'm not.
Well, you haven't given me any. You've told me you don't know.
I'm not avoiding
well, with respect, sir, you have not given.
Nigerians. So
no,
many
I know what you said.
They're not necessarily
I understand.
Same as those that.
But you are, yes. But what you're saying, if you could let me speak, what you're saying is that you dispute the numbers of Christians that have been reported to have been killed, but you have no idea how many Christians have been killed. What we surely can agree on is how many Christian churches have been destroyed. Do you know how many?
Yes, I do. Over the last 2 years, there have been 52 churches, depending on which region, again, you are referring to, because there are different regions in Nigeria, and there are, I can give you the figures right here now. So,
well, how many since 2009?
Since 2009, since the last 5 years, the attacks, not destroyed, attacks on churches, 102. So we're not hiding any figures, you see. It's important to understand this. Same way that there are mosques that are destroyed. I don't even have to mention that. Nigeria is configured in such a way that you have Muslim and Christian populations all across the country. There are, of course, states out of the 36 states that we have that have a high concentration of.
Piers, what's happening in Nigeria is jihad. It's the exact same thing that happened on October 7 by Islamists when they broke into Israel and murdered Jews yelling Allahu Akbar. It's the exact same thing that ISIS terrorists did to the Yazidis in Iraq. It's the exact same thing that happened in Lebanon. Here's the only difference between what's happening today in Nigeria versus what happened 1400 years ago when the Muslim Arab invaders came to Persia is that back then people did not have cameras, but today they do. It is 100% jihad. We've seen it before. This is how the Islamist playbook always happens.
Well, I don't think that the foreign minister was denying that bad things have been happening. He's just denying that it constitutes a genocide, and that the numbers of reported
because his
deaths
government
of
is a part of it.
Of murders of Christians.
I think his government is complicit. Right now, right now you have an Islamist government in Nigeria. One of the things that he didn't mention to you is that typically it's been a constitutional convention in Nigeria that if the prime minister is Muslim, then if the president is Muslim, then the vice president is Christian. If the president is Christian, then the vice president is Muslim. This is intended to have a proper representation of the Nigerian population. Right now, you have a Muslim president, and then they decided to choose a Muslim vice president, and so there is actually no Christian representation in the Islamist government. By the way, this is a government that is working closely behind the scenes with the Islamic Republic of Iran. You should ask the foreign minister why Nigerian school children are holding pictures of the Ayatollah, who is a brutal dictator and is murdering my people in Iran. People need to look into the linkages between the current Nigerian government and the Islamic Republic of Iran. I was a politician for 7 years, Piers, and I can tell when someone is lying and avoiding the truth. That's exactly what this foreign minister is doing, and shame on him for lying.
Guys, sending money to Nigeria is now easier with LearnFi, which you can download from App Store or Google Play Store. Using my promo code, you are getting €15 cashback, $15 cashback, and even £15 cashback All you have to do is just to use my promo code to enjoy all the bonuses. Thank you.